Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Let's talk about an uncivilized mutt. In 1991, a Michigan man named Gregory Green brutally murdered his pregnant wife, stabbing her several times in the face and chest and killing his unborn child in the process. But 16 years later, after being incarcerated for his crime, Green seemed to have turned a corner. He had a nearly spotless prison record, and friends and family members wrote letters to the parole board advocating for his release, insisting he had changed. He was finally released on parole for good behavior in 2008, but in 2016, history would repeat itself in the most tragic way imaginable. On a dark September night, Green killed two young children aged 4 and 5 by poisoning them with exhaust fumes as they slept in his car. That same evening, he bound his teenage stepchildren and then shot them in the head in front of their terrified mother. So how does something like this happen? Let's take a look at the making of an uncivilized mutt. Gregory Vicente Green was born on December 10, 1966, and was raised in a religious family. Other than that, not much is known about his childhood, but by the time Gregory hit his early 20s, he had met Tanya Clayton Green. The two fell in love and were married. Tanya had 2 young children from a previous relationship. Before long, she became pregnant with Gregory's child, and it seemed as though the couple were beginning to build a family together. But things took a dark turn when Gregory's behavior became increasingly controlling and violently aggressive toward Tanya. Alarmed by the shift, Tanya confided in a friend that she planned to leave Gregory. She never got the chance. Instead, on July 14, 1991, Gregory Green attacked his wife in their Detroit home. In a fit of rage, he grabbed a steak knife from the kitchen and brutally stabbed Tanya 10 times in the neck, chest, and back. She was 6 months pregnant at the time. Both Tanya and the unborn child tragically died. Luckily, Tanya's 2 children, ages 5 and 8, were miraculously out of the way during the attack. Otherwise, this uncivilized mutt with the penchant for killing children would have definitely taken their lives. After it was all over, Gregory dialed 911 and calmly told officers what he had done. When the police arrived, he opened the door and welcomed them inside. "I stabbed her," he said, according to a 2017 Daily Beast article. "She's in the kitchen." Then he showed them to the refrigerator where he'd stashed the murder weapon. In 1992, Gregory Green pleaded no contest to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 15 to 25 years in prison. Prison records indicate that he showed no signs of remorse or empathy for the murders, instead shifting blame on Tanya for his actions. He was denied parole 4 times. Still, Gregory maintained a virtually spotless prison record with only one minor altercation with another inmate. He steered clear of prison violence and kept a low profile throughout his time behind bars. Meanwhile, family members and friends, and even correction officers wrote letters to the parole board advocating for his release, insisting he had changed and become closer to God. We believe Gregory is very sorry for what he did and has gained insight into his behaviors, his parents wrote in November 2006, according to the Detroit News. He has worked hard in prison and he continues to make a positive adjustment. Fred Harris, a pastor of the Church of Risen Christ Ministries International in Detroit, who'd known Green before the murders, wrote multiple letters to the Michigan Parole Board on Green's behalf, begging them to give him a second chance and promising that the church would help with his rehabilitation. Gregory and I were friends before this mishap, and he was incarcerated, Harris wrote, according to a 2017 Washington Post story. He was a member of our church. I feel he has paid for his unfortunate lack of self-control and the damage he has caused as much as possible and is sorry. With the help of Pastor Harris, Green was finally released on parole in 2008. 2 years later, on December 18, 2010, he married Pastor Harris's daughter, Faith. Faith Green had 2 children from a previous marriage, Chadney Allen Jr. and Cara Allen. During their 6-year marriage, Gregory and Faith welcomed 2 daughters, Cara and Kalia Green. But by 2013, Gregory had begun to subject Faith to the same abuse he had inflicted upon his first wife, Tanya. Faith had reportedly tried to leave him multiple times and even filed for divorce that year. According to the Detroit News, she tried to get a personal protection order against him in 2013, claiming he would often get belligerent, kicking things, and threatening to attack her. On one occasion, she claimed, Gregory told her things are going to get ugly if she didn't leave the house. She also claimed that he kicked the couch while one of their babies was sleeping on it. At the time, the court denied her PPO request, citing insufficient allegations. Faith remained with her husband for another 3 years, but in August 2016, Faith Green once again found herself filing for divorce. On the night of September 21st, 2016, Gregory Green turned on his family once again. That night, he brutally assaulted his wife in the basement of their home. He tied her up with zip ties and duct tape and proceeded to terrorize her, slashing her face with a knife and shooting her in the foot. The horror continued as Green brought his 2 teenage stepchildren, Chadney 19 and Cara 17, downstairs. He then forced Faith to witness as he tied her children up and shot them in the head, execution style. That night, Green put his 2 youngest children, Cara and Kalia, in the family's car and snaked a hose from the car's tailpipe into the car's interior, poisoning the little girls with deadly carbon monoxide from the exhaust fumes. Then he carried their lifeless bodies back into the house and placed them back in their beds. As this uncivilized mutt had done the first time he murdered his family, Gregory Green called the police on himself and readily admitted to what he had done. When the police arrived, he was waiting for them outside on the driveway. In February 2017, Gregory Green, an uncivilized mutt who should have never been uncaged, was sentenced to 45 to 100 years in prison. By the time this uncivilized mutt qualifies for release, he will be 97 years old. Faith Green spoke at his sentencing, telling the court that she suffers from migraines and nightmares after witnessing the deaths of her children. Talk about an uncivilized mutt. And what about the pastor who advocated for his release? There ain't really a punishment that's great enough for what he did. By the pastor advocating for him and the daughter being privy to that advocacy, perhaps she saw something special in this uncivilized mutt. After all, Daddy is riding for him. Daddy says he's a good guy. Daddy thinks he's just a good guy. And, he just did something bad. For the life of me, I don't understand how a woman would even give a dude like that a chance. I'm not going to give a woman like that a chance. Look, man, I don't care how much you are rehabilitated. If you tell me that you killed your last husband, your last boyfriend, I'm gone. I'm out of it, man. No, man, you did it once, you might do it again, man. Even if you were right, if you were innocent, if it was self-defense, and you did what you had to do, I'm happy for you, but I'm not gonna be happy with you. I'm out of here. I ain't rocking like that, man. Because what if I ask you about my food? I like, what my food? And, you just kind of give me a look like, and I'm looking like, damn, is she looking at me like that because she want to kill me too? Nah, I don't want to take the chance. I'm not taking that chance. Not going to take that chance. But y'all be careful out there, fam. Be very careful out there. Those women, it appeared to me, had their warnings. And they stuck around way too long. When people show you who they are, believe them. And protect yourself. Protect yourself at all times. Look, at the end of the day, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. No more talk.